Ladies and gentlemen, tennis fans everywhere, and in particular the countless proud, sleep-deprived, screen-glued supporters from the Philippines and Eastern Europe, get ready. Something significant is taking shape in Abu Dhabi. We often celebrate the obvious spectacles in tennis, the clashes of legends, the moments when eras overlap and stars collide under center court lights. But some of the most powerful stories in this sport are quieter. They're not defined by rankings or silverware. They're defined by timing, by those rare moments when a match looks ordinary on a draw sheet, yet carries the weight of something much larger. And that is precisely what awaits us in the second round of the WTA Abu Dhabi Open. On one side of the court stands Alexandra Eala, still young, still listed as the underdog by the numbers, yet no longer hidden from anyone who truly pays attention to the game. She is the pride of the Philippines, a Grand Slam junior champion, a product of the Rafa Nadal Academy, a player stepping on a court with more than just her own ambitions, but with the hopes of a tennis-loving nation that has waited a long time to see itself reflected at this level of the sport. Across the net is Aliaksandra Sasnovich, a battle-tested professional, a player shaped by years on the WTA Tour, a former top 30 competitor who has faced Grand Slam winners, navigated brutal stretches of form, and learned how to survive when tennis becomes less about flair and more about endurance. She knows the rhythms, the traps, the psychological puzzles that define life on this tour. This is not a semi-final that fills highlight reels. This is not a final played for a trophy. It is a second-round match in desert conditions, and yet it carries weight. It feels consequential. It feels like one of those encounters that, with hindsight, fans will point to and say, that was a turning point. For Alexandra Eala, matches like this represent a threshold, a crossing from potential into proof. She has already dominated at junior level. She has already shown she belongs in elite training circles. But the professional tour is ruthless. It does not reward promise. It does not pause for narratives. It demands answers. Can you win today against someone who understands this grind inside and out? Aliaksandra Sasnovich embodies that question. To grasp why this matchup matters, you have to look at where both players stand right now. Sasnovich is not clinging on by chance. Her career has been built on resilience, on adjusting when things don't go her way, on absorbing pressure and turning it back on her opponent. She may not command headlines, but she owns wins over top players. She has derailed many rising stars. She excels when others are expected to surge forward. She knows how to disrupt momentum, how to stretch points just long enough for impatience to creep in. Eala's journey, by contrast, is still unfolding. She isn't arriving with fireworks. She's arriving steadily, match by match, tournament by tournament. Every appearance in a main draw is another step forward. And Abu Dhabi, with its fast courts, dry air, and unforgiving pace, is one of the toughest environments to learn in. There's no room for hesitation here. The ball skids through. Points unfold quickly. The conditions reward conviction and expose uncertainty immediately. That's what makes this contest so intriguing. Eala's game has always been rooted in intelligence. Her left-handed forehand isn't just heavy, it's deliberate. She builds points. She sees the court. She understands geometry. But against Sasnovich, predictable patterns can become liabilities, because Sasnovich disrupts them. She changes speed. She varies height. She slices, floats, and extends rallies until frustration starts to whisper. This is the kind of opponent that reveals readiness very quickly. From the opening exchanges, the contrast will be clear. Sasnovich will test Eala's tolerance. She'll drag her wide with the serve, then redirect behind her. She'll lean on the backhand side, not to overwhelm it, but to observe how Eala reacts when pressure accumulates. And Eala will need to respond with bravery, with depth, with the confidence to step inside the baseline and take control even when the margins feel tight. The mental side of this match is just as crucial as the physical. Sasnovich has lived these moments. Early rounds, tight scorelines, matches against younger players sensing opportunity. She knows when to accelerate and when to slow everything down. She knows how to project calm and how to apply just enough presence to remind her opponent that this won't be easy. For Eala, this is new terrain, but not unfamiliar. She has competed in high-pressure environments. She has played finals. She has worn her country's colors on big stages. Still, there is something unique about facing an experienced tour professional on neutral ground, without a crowd, lifting you through difficult stretches. This is about internal belief, about trusting your work when comfort disappears. And comfort will disappear. There will be rallies where Eala executes perfectly, only to see the ball returned again. There will be phases where Sasnovich's depth forces her deep behind the baseline. There will be service games where one loose decision suddenly brings danger. This is where development happens, not in easy wins, but in resistance. From a tactical standpoint, the blueprint is clear. Eala must stay assertive. She cannot allow Sasnovich to dictate purely through variety. She has to use her left-handed serve to create space. She has to take returns early when the opportunity appears. She has to be willing to go down the line, even when the margin feels narrow. Sasnovich, meanwhile, will aim to elongate the contest, to push Eala's shot tolerance, to see whether discipline holds when rallies refuse to end quickly. The surface amplifies everything. Abu Dhabi rewards clean striking and commitment. That can favor Eala if she trusts her game. But it also magnifies Sasnovich's experience, her ability to absorb pace and redirect it with control. This isn't about raw power. It's about clarity, about who can impose their version of the match more consistently. Looking beyond the scoreboard, the importance of this moment for Philippine tennis is immense. Every time Eala competes at this level, she reshapes expectations. She makes representation routine rather than remarkable. A victory over Sasnovich wouldn't just be a second-round win. It would signal readiness to challenge seasoned professionals, not just fellow prospects. For Sasnovich, the stakes are different but equally real. She is searching for rhythm, for momentum, for affirmation in a tour that rarely waits. Falling to a teenager is not something a veteran embraces. She will want to establish control early to reassert the value of experience. That tension is the heartbeat of this match. There's no hostility here, no personal feud. What exists instead is something pure, a generational checkpoint, a moment where one player asks, "Are you prepared for this level?" and the other answers with her game. As play unfolds, watch the details. How Eala reacts after losing a grueling rally. How Sasnovich responds when Eala's strings points together. These subtle cues tell the real story. At this level, matches are often decided not by brilliance, but by responses to adversity. In the end, predictions almost miss the point. Yes, experience leans towards Sasnovich. Yes, logic favors the player who's been here many times before. But tennis has never lived purely on logic. It thrives on belief, momentum, and moments of courage. If Alexandra Eala can stay grounded, if she can trust her instincts and lean into the discomfort, she gives herself a genuine chance to turn this into a defining step forward. Not because Sasnovich will offer anything freely, but because progress often comes from taking something from someone who expects to hold on to it. No matter the outcome, this match will resonate. It will be watched closely back home. It will be analyzed. It will stand as another chapter in a journey that is still being written. So take your seats. Pay attention, because under the lights in Abu Dhabi, this is more than a second-round contest. It's a young career testing itself against the full reality of the professional tour. And those tests, whether they end in victory or defeat, are where futures are truly shaped.